I mean, I think it's disgusting. I mean, remember, it's no coincidence that where they visited was the Royal Children's Hospital.
So Meghan and Harry just got absolutely torched by royal experts for exploiting a children's hospital visit to sell clothes. And honestly, it's about time someone called this out. We're diving into their desperate money-grabbing schemes and why the royal family is genuinely panicking.
This is the children's hospital that was opened by Queen Elizabeth, and it's been chosen for that reason. And then you've got her selling clothes off the back of it.
This isn't random charity work. They deliberately picked Queen Elizabeth's legacy hospital, knowing it would generate maximum publicity for their commercial ventures. Using sick children as marketing props while hawking designer outfits is genuinely sickening behaviour from supposed humanitarians.
Well, it's an ATM. I'm not sure how successful that ATM is. How much money are they going to
It's been diminishing returns, hasn't
make?
it?
But they're there for commercial reasons.
That ATM analogy hits perfectly. Netflix axed their deal in 2023, Spotify dumped them for under-delivering, and now they're scrambling for revenue streams. This desperation explains why they're mixing charitable appearances with blatant commercial exploitation. It's financial survival mode.
And like Rebecca says, it's evidence of what they always wanted, essentially. I mean, you can say that they're no longer working royals, but they're doing a very good job of sort of concealing that by mixing these engagements.
Exactly. This proves their original half-in, half-out plan was always about commercializing royal status while maintaining the prestige. They're creating a shadow royal operation where every charitable gesture becomes a business opportunity. It's the worst of both worlds.
Sarah and Mike Tyndall they go in January for the event at the Gold Coast, don't they? But they never mix it up with hospital visits and this type of thing.
Perfect contrast here. Zara Tyndall does rugby commentary and commercial deals, but keeps it completely separate from any royal-adjacent charity work. She understands the ethical boundaries that these two have obliterated in their quest for relevance and revenue.
They just go to do a job, and that's fine. But it's this real mixing up which is causing trouble. Well, it's very much is part of that, because what we're seeing in Australia is what they want to be the case in Britain as well.
This is their beta test for a UK comeback strategy. They're proving in Australia that they can still draw crowds and media attention, then planning to leverage that success for commercial opportunities back home during major royal events.
It's in July, where it's a year before the Invictus Games in Birmingham, and Harry wants to bring Meghan with him for that.
Birmingham's Invictus Games in 2027 represents their perfect storm. A cause he genuinely cares about, massive UK media attention, and the chance to rehabilitate her image on British soil. It's their most calculated move yet for commercial re-entry.
Well, that remains to be seen, but he's certainly trying as hard as he can to get that automatic security that he thinks would ease her way back in. And this is the model that he wants to pursue.
His ongoing security court battles aren't just about safety. They're about enabling her commercial activities in the UK. Without taxpayer-funded protection, she can't safely do the public appearances that would restart their British revenue streams.
And I think it's a real problem for the royal family. Well, it would appear to be that they're struggling to sell tickets for Meghan's wellness event. I mean, we'll see how that goes. And they're struggling in the sense that they've lost those big money deals with Spotify and Netflix that they had.
Netflix confirmed in 2024 they're not renewing their production deal, and her wellness brand launch has been consistently delayed due to poor pre-orders. This financial pressure explains why they're now exploiting children's hospitals for clothing sales. Pure desperation.
So they're having to kind of work harder, and I would argue that's why they're having to do trips like this with the personal appearances, the speech by Harry that he's giving later this week, in conjunction with these public engagements. But
absolutely absolutely right about working harder. When your big money streaming deals collapse, you're forced into this grubby mixing of charity visits with paid speeches and product placement. It's a massive step down from their Netflix millions, but bills need paying.
It's worrying times, I would say, for them, but also for the royal family.
Palace sources have repeatedly told The Times they feel helpless watching this exploitation unfold. Every charitable appearance these two make damages the monarchy's reputation, while they profit off royal connections they officially severed years ago.
I have to say, personally, I would like to see Prince William and Catherine undertaking more foreign visits, because Harry and Meghan, I would say, are ruthlessly sort of stepping into that void.
They're absolutely exploiting Catherine's cancer recovery to position themselves as the active, available royals. While she focuses on her health, they're touring Commonwealth nations, trying to fill that void and prove their continued relevance.
I just think, Colombia, Nigeria, Australia, they're really going for it. And we haven't seen Catherine and William, obviously, because of Catherine's illness.
Yeah.
But we're waiting for them to take on some of these foreign tours, and Harry and Meghan are trying to step in there and say, actually, we're the real royal.
The timing is particularly cynical. Colombia, Nigeria, Australia, while Catherine undergoes treatment and William supports his family. They're systematically targeting Commonwealth realms during the royal family's most vulnerable period, claiming to represent Britain's interests.
Well, this is the ongoing row because a think tank in America, in Washington, has always tried to find out the details of how and what Harry said in order to enter America.
The Heritage Foundation lawsuit threatens their entire US operation. If his visa gets revoked for lying about drug use, their American commercial empire collapses overnight. This legal uncertainty adds massive pressure to monetize their royal status while they still can.
Because, as all of us will know who've recently had to fill in visa applications, it asks you questions about drug abuse and things like that. And Harry has confessed to past drug use in his memoirs.
He admitted to cocaine, cannabis, and magic mushrooms in Spare, all disqualifying factors for US visas. With Trump back in office and less sympathetic to their cause, that protected status Biden provided might evaporate quickly.
And they wanted to know, what did he say? Did he tell the truth in his application? But it's never been made public. And what we've learnt this week is that nothing will come out in public until after the visit.
That delayed document release timing is highly suspicious. Right after the state visit concludes, it suggests political calculation rather than legal necessity. If those visa documents show he lied, his US residency becomes untenable immediately.
But to me, it emphasises that whatever President Trump has said about Meghan and Harry in the past, he doesn't really want to cause trouble. He values his relationship with the British royal family and doesn't do anything to want to sort of upset the apple cart.
Trump's restraint during the state visit shows respect for King Charles, but that diplomatic protection has limits. If their commercial exploitation of royal status continues damaging British interests, even Trump might withdraw his implicit support.
Well, when we first heard about this, it was reported that Centre Barley was suing Harry and Mark Dyer and others, but they were very keen to make clear at the charity that they won't be using charitable funds.
This lawsuit represents unprecedented toxicity around their brand. When the charity you founded specifically to help vulnerable African children has to sue you in court, you've completely destroyed your humanitarian credibility. It's career-ending reputational damage.
Wow, it shows how strongly they feel about what happened. But, I would argue, it's terribly sad, isn't it? Whatever money is being used, and these court cases cost a fortune, I would argue could be much better used to help people in most difficult circumstances in southern Africa.
Every pound spent on these court cases is money not reaching orphan children and AIDS victims in Lesotho. His legal battles are literally taking resources away from the most vulnerable people his charity was created to help. It's morally bankrupt.
But the thing about Prince Harry is he loves the courts. It's been his second home over the past few years.
I don't know if he loves them.
Well,
but-
so maybe, they're taking a leaf out of his book and thinking, that's where they want to take their action. But, I mean, I can never think of a case of a charity, suing their former royal patron.
The irony is perfect. He spent years in court suing newspapers, and now his own charity is using those same tactics against him. His litigation obsession has come full circle, with vulnerable African children paying the price for his legal warfare.
It's extraordinary, and it just shows you how angry that situation became.
The experts' disgust is completely justified. They've burned bridges with charities, exploited sick children for profit, and turned royal status into a commercial enterprise. When your own humanitarian organisations are suing you, you've lost all moral authority.